Let's go ahead and call the Senate to order. Sergeant at Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
All right, Senators, this morning we are very pleased to have Rabbi Yankee Barron of Chabad of Ellicott City, in Ellicott City, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from the 9th District. Please rise for the invocation.
I want to thank Senator Hester for inviting me here. It's an honor. I want to begin my prayer by putting $1 into a tzedakah box, which the tzedakah box emphasizes the importance of routine charity and acts of goodness and kindness. Almighty God, look favorably upon the Senate of the state of Maryland. Bless these individuals elected by the people in whom faith and confidence have been placed to legislate laws, making decisions that will affect the lives of the citizens of our great state. Let them recognize that this is not only a great honor and civic responsibility, but also a holy endeavor. The Jewish tradition tells of 7 universal laws given to mankind by God through Noah, one of which instructs us to create a peaceful and moral society governed by law. Almighty God, grant that those assembled here be aware of your presence and this holy mission as they labor to enact just laws. This month, we started the celebration of 75 years of leadership of one of our country's greatest champions of kindness, the Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the leader of the Chabad Lubavitch movement, who inspires millions through his example and teachings to live their lives with increased purpose and holiness. The Rebbe's influence continues to make an everlasting impact on the world. Today marks 36 years since the passing of his illustrious wife, Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka Schneerson. Several months ago, my wife Leah and I were blessed with the birth of our first daughter, and we were privileged to name her for the Rebbetzin. Chaya is a Hebrew word for life, and mushka is a term used for a spice with a wonderful aroma. May she learn from this saintly figure, who was a role model for so many, to ensure that every moment of life is precious and wonderful and can make a true impact. As we face rising levels of hatred, anti-Semitism, and acts of terror around the world, and as we mark over 115 days of captivity of 136 innocent civilians, we gain inspiration from the words of Moses, spoken to the Jewish nation as they entered the land of Israel 3,324 years ago. You will have done what is incumbent upon you, so I will do what is incumbent upon me, says God. This is a powerful reminder that every one of us, and certainly those fortunate to occupy positions of leadership and influence, must do all we can to make the world a better place and to stand up for what is right, even when it may not be popular. When we do so, we elicit divine blessings. Almighty God, bless our great country, our state, and the members of this Maryland State Senate. Guide their deliberations so that they may govern with wisdom, justice, grace, and compassion. May they have the courage to be a beacon of light, bringing honor to your name and your blessing to humankind. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. May God, who brings peace on high, bring peace to all of us, all of Israel, all of mankind, and let us say, Amen.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rabbi Yankee Barron has been a beacon of wisdom, compassion, and guidance in our community. Under his leadership, the Chabad of Ellicott City has not only been a place of worship, but also a sanctuary for learning and charity. The rabbi's commitment to interfaith dialogue and community service resonates deeply with the values we hold dear as our state, and I'd love to ask for his remarks to be journalized.
Without objection, Senator, most certainly we will journalize the remarks this morning. Yes, Chair recognizes
Thank you,
Senator
Mr. President.
Georges.
Good morning, and that's a wonderful prayer for my brother. And by the way, if you need someone to help you pass that box around among my colleagues, I do a pretty good job at that. We call it a plate, but either way, man, I'll shake them. I mean, I'll not shake them down. I may get the offering. Thank you.
Well said, well said. Excellent. All right. Very good, very good. Thank you. The Reverend Doctor, Senator. Excellent. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? Everyone recorded their presence? Are we sure? All right. If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. I believe we have two resolutions today. Let's begin with the senator from Anne Arundel, our Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm honored and delighted today. Please join me, colleagues, in welcoming the Anne Arundel County and Baltimore Metropolitan chapters of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, as today is their legislative day in Annapolis. There are 4 chapters in Maryland: Anne Arundel County, the Baltimore Metro chapter, Prince George's County, and Southern Maryland. Having been founded in 1992, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women is a nonprofit organization comprised of phenomenal professional black women committed to advocating on behalf of black women and girls to promote leadership, development, and gender equity in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. Today, their agenda includes juvenile justice panel, human trafficking, and gun control. We applaud their support of community initiatives and their work raising awareness of critical issues and activities affecting the African American community. Madam Clerk, will you please read the resolution?
Clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Anne Arundel County chapter, and the Baltimore Metropolitan chapter, in recognition of the advocacy work done on behalf of black women and girls in the state of Maryland from 1981 to 2024. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this first day of February 2024.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? So the clerk will take the call. To the Anne Arundel County chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, the Senate of Maryland unanimously congratulates you and thanks you for your incredible work here in the state of Maryland. Thank you. All right, we have another resolution, but I believe that they are doing pictures, so we will interrupt when they are available. It's a great group, so we'll when they're here, we will just take a quick pause. Are there any other guest introductions as we're waiting? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, colleagues, I have with me my intern for this session, Mary Walsh. She's sitting right over there with the pages. She's a senior at the University of Maryland, scheduled to graduate in May with a dual degree in government and politics and history. She's also in the dual bachelor and master's in public policy program and is scheduled to receive her master's in May of 2025. Mary has interned in the offices of Congressman Hoyer, Congressman Sarbanes, Delegate Teresa, and as well as Howard County Council member Dr. Opal Jones. She has received numerous academic honors and is a great asset to my staff, and we're very grateful to have her here with us today on the floor. So thank you, Mr. President.
Excellent. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Other introductions? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 40th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the gallery behind us are some students from Matthew A. Henson. I'm going to ask them to stand. These 30 students from Matthew A. Henson Elementary School, along with the principal, Ms. Page, 2 teachers, and a trip organizer, Cameron Miles, and a community organizer, Ms. Margaret Powell. Just a point of note to the Kappa Caucus, Cameron Miles is a good member of the greatest fraternity in the world, Kappa Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Cameron Miles is the director of a program called Mentoring Male Teens in the Hood. Cameron annually brings students to Annapolis and for the last 27 years and has operated a male mentoring program in my district. This program is changing lives for the better. These students here today love math. Every week, they have a competition to earn Zern points. Zern Math is a K-8 math program designed by teachers to be an engaging and accessible math learning experience for all students. Zern makes learning math fun, interactive, entertaining, and the students at Matthew A. Henson love it. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming the 5th graders from Matthew A. Henson Elementary School.
Welcome, welcome. Very good. Thank you all for joining us. Zern Math. I've never heard of Zern Math. Zern Math. Very good. Very good. Appreciate your work. Keep up the great work. Have a great day today in Annapolis. All right, yes, Chair Kennedy Senator from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Mr. President. A lot of doctors live in my neighborhood. Most of them happen to live on the side of the line represented by the senator from District 11. However, there's at least one who lives on my side of the line, and he is our doctor of the day. Please welcome Jim Williams.
Welcome, Dr. Williams. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Any other additional introductions, guests? All right, we will go ahead and jump into things, and then we'll just pause when our guests are here. All right, so we consider the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We've got another large stack of bills. This is calendar number 27. Clerk, read the bills.
Senate Bill 745, Senator Jennings, Virginia Maryland College of Veterinary Medicine, Funding, Education, Energy, and the Environment. Senate Bill 746, Senator Gazone, Winery and Vineyard Economic Development Grant Program Modifications, Finance.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. They will be referred to their appropriate standing committees. We've got another large stack here, calendar 28. Clerk will read the bills.
Senate Bill 775, the President, state officers, and employees required surety bonds, insurance policies, authorized education, energy, environment, and budget and taxation.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. We have just hit 800. 800. That's a lot of bills. 800. Whew. All right. They will be referred to their standing committees. Let's go to bond initiatives number 16. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Number 1, Central Waldstreicher, Dalewood Drive Playground, Budget and Taxation. Number 2, Central Waldstreicher, Garrett Park Town Hall, Budget and Taxation.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bond initiatives. They will be referred to the Capital Budget Subcommittee. We have our first report out of executive nominations of the year. Clerk will read the report.
Report number 1, the Senate Executive Nominations Committee reports favorably on the attached gubernatorial appointments and recommends that the Senate of Maryland advise and consent to these appointments. Antonio Hayes, Chair.
All right, Chair recognizes the Chair of the committee on the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we want to special order this till Friday.
Oh, actually,
No, probably Tuesday.
let's do Monday. We'll be here Monday.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Mr. President. Let's special order till Monday.
All right. We are doing a pro forma. We weren't going to. Now we are. So, the chair has moved that we special order and hear the report in open session on Monday. Any objections? Without objection, the report will be special ordered until Monday. Senators, make sure to look through the list. If there's anyone that's of relation or otherwise that we can separate out, just keep a close eye to make sure that we've gone through it. All right. It appears we may now be ready. Still waiting? Okay, let's do this one really well. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll slowly do it as our friends are joining us. Okay, if we could bring in our guests and Madam Clerk, if we could pull up the resolution for the senator from District 7 who has a well appropriated colored shirt today to match.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Well thought out.
I wear pink well. Colleagues, today is Shock Trauma Day, and it is our honor to have Shock Trauma here today. It actually resides in District 40. Senator from District 40 is very proud to represent it. But for those of you who don't know, there is one Shock Trauma. Some people think it's all over the place. It's one freestanding facility in Baltimore. Today we're joined by Chairman of the Board, Bruce Poole, Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Tom Scalia, and Vice President Christy Snedeker. They are the leadership of Shock Trauma. And when you think about it, it is like no other hospital in the world. It is the most advanced when it comes to trauma care. It started with Dr. R. Adams Calley from the experiences in the Korean War, what he learned. He met with Governor Mandel, came up with an executive order, and started in the basement of the University of Maryland Hospital. And from there it grew to the point now where, 97.5% of the patients that make it there survive. Whether you live in Oakland, Ocean City, Leonardtown, or Laurel, with the medevac system that we have, wherever you are in this state, you will make it to that hospital within an hour, and you have a 97.5% chance of survival. Many of us go to their gala. We had an incredible gala today. I know the senator, her constituent was there who was saved. She gave an incredible, passionate speech, but it's not only them, it's the men and women in pink in the balcony. If you guys could stand, men and women could stand in the balcony in pink. It's those men and women that provide the care to our constituents. You know, when there's a horrible traffic accident, or unfortunately, you know, some type of trauma, when they make it there, you actually, even though it's horrible to think they're there, you actually take a sigh of relief knowing that they are at the greatest trauma facility in the world. So, Mr. President, there is a resolution at the desk asked to be read. But also, real quick, they are going to be walking the halls today. They'll be stopping in your offices, bringing you a care package. You might like what they bring you. It's kind of cool. But take a minute, talk to them. Some of them actually have, I think I was saved by shock trauma. Listen to them, because Maryland's unique. We do things, some things great. This we do incredible, like no other place in the country. So take time, talk to them, listen to them. They need our help. Thank you.
Well said. Clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to our Adams-Cowley Shock Trauma Team in recognition of their daily heroic efforts and unparalleled care of the most critically injured patients, utilizing groundbreaking research and innovative medical procedures. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on the first day of February 2024.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. To the men and women and heroes of the R. Adams-Cowley Shock Trauma Team, thank you, thank you. The Senate of Maryland unanimously celebrates your work and appreciates everything you do every single day. Congratulations. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the
Mr.
Committee.
President, before the chair of the board leaves, there may be some folks in this chamber, and certainly those who are listening at home, who may not know that the chair of the board, Bruce Poole, served honorably and brilliantly as a member of the House of Delegates, and many of us were lucky enough to be able to serve with him. He served on the Judiciary Committee, for which he probably got combat pay, and 1987 to 1999. He was a wonderful member representing District 2, if I remember correctly, from Western Maryland. So I'd like to
Certainly.
acknowledge him as a former colleague.
Great to see
Thank you.
Yes. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well said. Excellent. Very good. Great to see you all. Thank you. We had a site visit there this interim, and as we were there, we went up to the helipad, and it was just to see the helipad. But lo and behold, there were two helicopters coming in, medevacs. One coming in, goes off as we're standing there, another one's flying in. It was pretty surreal. It makes you very grateful for each day, and also grateful for the folks that are saving lives every day. So thank you all very, very, very much. Thank you. All right, let's shift back. Let's get back into the work of the day. We have a special order calendar. This is calendar number 6. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 302, Chair, Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee, Commercial Northern Snakehead License Gear. Question is on the adoption of the favorable report.
All right, this snakehead has been hanging around. Let's see where we are. If the favorable report, questions on the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye, opposed nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 302 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Madam Clerk, could we do a quorum call before third reading calendar?
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. This is third reading calendar number 3. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 210, Chair of Finance Committee, Emergency Medical Services, Paramedics, Immunization, Administrative, effective date.
Senate Bill 210 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 37 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 210, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 224, Chair of Finance Committee, Cemeterials, Burial, Transit, Permits, Required Information.
Senate Bill 224 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 224, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 228, Chair of Finance Committee, Maryland Health Benefit Exchange, Qualified Health Plans, Dental Coverage.
Senate Bill 228 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 36 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 228, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 230, Chair of Finance Committee, Insurance, Hearing, Representation.
Senate Bill 230 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 230, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 239, Chair of Finance Committee, State Board of Occupational Therapy Practice, Sunset Extension.
Senate Bill 239 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 239, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 240, Chair of Finance Committee, State Board of Examiners and Optometry, Sunset Extension.
Senate Bill 240 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 240, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 243, Chair of Finance Committee, State Board of Professional Counselors, Therapists, Behavior Analyst Advisory Committee, Sunset Extension.
Senate Bill 243 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 243 is hereby ordered, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 257, Chair of Finance Committee, State Board of Physical Therapy Examiners, Sunset Extension.
Senate Bill 257 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 257, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We're going to third reading calendar number 4. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 69, Anne Arundel County Senators, Anne Arundel County Board of Community College Trustees, Membership Alterations and Appointment Requirements.
Senate Bill 69 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. 46 votes in the affirmative. Senate Bill 69, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 88, Senator Guile, Maryland Commission on Veterans and Military Families.
Senate Bill 88 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 88, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 170, Senator Gallion, County Board of Education, Bid Advertisement Threshold, Electronic Posting of Hearing Notices, and Bid Advertisements.
All right, Senate Bill 170 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 170, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 248, Chair, Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee, Libraries, Regional Resource Centers, Governing Board membership.
Senate Bill 248 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 248, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, that does it. The desk is officially clear. Let's check in with committees. Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance will meet at 1 o'clock today for 9 bill hearings and 95 witnesses. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair of Education, Energy, and the Environment.
Thank you, Mr. President. At 1 p.m., we're going to have a fiscal briefing from DLS. Immediately following that, we will have bill hearings. We have 5 bills, and after that, we're going to have a voting session.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chair of Budget and Tax.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Education Subcommittee and the Public Safety Subcommittees will both meet today at 1 o'clock.
All right, 1 o'clock. Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet today at 1 p.m. for bill hearings.
1 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Others, Chair recognizes the Chair of Executive Noms.
Thank you, Mr. President. Executive Noms will meet Monday at 5 o'clock in the Amos Room.
Monday at 5. Any further standing committees, select committees, joint committees? Protocol.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we have a birthday today, our first birthday, I guess, of the session. Permission to use the senator's name, Mr. President?
Yes, please.
Thank you. It is Senator James's birthday, so everybody wish her a happy birthday and a round of applause.
Happy birthday.
And if I may, Mr. President, since we're pro forma today, I have an opportunity to thank the pages. We have Folshade Ipabino from Montgomery County. Give her a round of applause. Yeah. Flamatu Fofana from Carroll County, Liberty High School. Priyanka Gupta, Frederick County, District 3. Laura Heelskamp from Garrett County. Akil Leggett from Anne Arundel County. Anya Mangarobin from Baltimore County. Matthew McKay from Allegheny County. And finally, Rohan Warrior from Howard County. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the pages. You all had a great week, and still a little bit slow. You got a little taste of it, but week 10, when you're back, will be quite the adventure time of the year. So it'll be here before we know it. Excellent. All right, and happy birthday again. Yes, Chair of Finance, or Judicial Proceedings?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. President. Just since tomorrow's pro forma, just making an announcement for public record, we will have bill hearings tomorrow. We will also have a voting session tomorrow. We're going to start our bill hearings at 10:30.
10:30 for Judicial Proceedings on Friday. Yes, Chair recognizes the Senator from Baltimore County.
Thank you very much. I've been joking with everybody that because of certain media coverage, everyone wants to be a crime fighter having us in on Fridays now. But anyhow, I digress. Baltimore County delegation will be having bill hearings at 3:30 on Monday in the very welcome room.
Excellent. 3:30 Monday for Baltimore County. Let's hear from the Chair of the Baltimore City delegation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Baltimore City delegation will not meet tomorrow, but I would ask members to meet briefly right after session. Thank you.
Okay, I think we will meet in the Silver Room across all. Is that correct? Perfect. Okay, great. Excellent. All right. Let's see. We have Senator from District 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last announcement for Polar Bear Plunge. The Senator Doug Peters Memorial Plunge is tomorrow. Many of us will be doing it. I'm proud to say right now when it comes to fundraising for these incredible athletes, our Secretary of the Senate is in the lead with raising the most, followed by the senator that proudly represents Rockville and Gaithersburg in a close second. So even if you've had nothing to do tomorrow and you want to come out and watch us, go in. It'd be great. Love to have you at least support the athletes with the Special Olympics. They need it. So, Mr. President, looking forward to it tomorrow.
Excellent. It was cold. I saw that thermometer, 34. Whew. It's going to be brutal. But good cause, good cause. All right, Senator from District 11.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise today to share information about the passing of a former House of Delegates constituent of mine, Delegate Howard Needle. He was a lovely, lovely man. I don't know if anyone here knew him. He served for 8 years in the 1970s. He and his wife, Sue, have been wonderful constituents, and he is credited really for a lot of the development in Baltimore County, including the Northwest Expressway, the subway, and the Pikesville Armory. It was really one of his big ideas early on, is to begin the transformation of that important anchor in our community. Today is his funeral, and I just am asking if we can adjourn in his memory. Thank you.
Without objection, certainly we will adjourn in his honor, and sounds like a dedicated public servant. Appreciate his work. Going back very quickly on the city delegation, the Silver Room, apparently the furniture is still being restored, so the old Senate chamber may be the better option, if that's okay with the chair. Excellent. Old Senate chamber. Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from Hartford and Cecil.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight is one of my personal favorite events of the year we have during session. Tonight is the Maryland Taste of Agriculture at Maryland Live. The doors open at 6:30. Program starts at 8, and the Willard family from Montgomery County is being inducted into the Governor's Agriculture Hall of Fame. Governor Moore is scheduled to be there, along with 850 other people from across the state. So, if you're available, come out tonight to Maryland Live and help celebrate the #1 industry in the state of Maryland, agriculture.
Excellent. Thank you, Senator. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. Today being February 1st, it is the first day of Black History Month, and we have a presentation from the senator from the 43rd District. Before we jump in, are there any other announcements before we get to this? Okay, great. Chair recognizes the senator from the 43rd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, February 1st, we begin Black History Month, and as one of the historians of the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland, we thought that we would begin by reminding ourselves and this body the story of the convening of the Black Caucus and the peoples of African descent in Maryland. So I'm just going to start, and I'll be referencing this song that everyone knows throughout. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. From 1619 to 1865, an estimated 12.5 million Africans were forced to cross the Atlantic as part of the slave trade through the Middle Passage. According to modern research, the enslaved were transported in wretched conditions. Mortality was high as 15%. And for 15% of those who left from West Africa died in transport. And even those who were strong enough, when they got to shore, were met with beatings, lynching, and various other infractions. For more than 2.5 centuries of slavery, we also disrupted families, as 1 in 3 marriages were split up, and 1 in 5 children were separated from their parents. In Maryland, the date is, sometimes it says 1634, sometimes it says 1642. Matthias de Souza was one of 9 indentured servants brought to Maryland by Jesuit missionaries. And he was in the Ark when the Lord Baltimore's expedition arrived in St. Mary's River, making him one of the first individuals of African descent to settle in the Maryland colony. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope, unborn, had died. In 1664, the Maryland General Assembly of Freemen converted indentured for a term. That means you were indentured just for a particular term, you paid your debt and you were free. Through a series of laws and practices, converted it to indenture in perpetuity. It stated that be it enacted by the right of honorable the Lord Proprietary, by the advice and consent of the upper and lower house of this present General Assembly, that all Negroes and all other slaves already in Providence, and all Negroes and all slaves will be hereby imported from Providence, shall serve durante vita, that means your entire life, and all their children of any Negro descent or slave shall be slaves as their fathers were for the terms of their lives. In 1671, the Assembly passed an act stating expressly that baptism of a slave would not lead to freedom. In 1753, the Maryland Assembly passed a law that prohibited any slaveholder from independently freeing or manumitting a slave without the permission of the legislative permission. In 1788, Maryland becomes the 7th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. In 1792, Mr. Thomas Brown, a Black Revolutionary War hero from Baltimore, made an unsuccessful bid for a seat in the Maryland General Assembly. In 1796, the Maryland Society of the Abolition of Slavery successfully lobbied the repeal of the 1750 law that had prohibited individuals from manumitting their slaves. In 1820, the Mason-Dixon line, that's Pennsylvania, Maryland, was used as a boundary between free and slave states under the Missouri Compromise. In 1821, the Maryland State Colonization Society, which was the primary organizing proponent of the return of all free African Americans to a place called the Republic of Maryland in West Africa. It was a short-lived independent state because, in fact, the majority of African Americans at this time were American-born. In December of 1831, the Maryland State Legislature appropriated $10,000 for 26 years to transport free blacks and formerly enslaved people from the United States to Africa. The act appropriated funds up to $20,000 a year for a total of up to $200,000 to begin the process. In today's terms, that's over $6.5 million. In 1831, Maryland began drafting a comprehensive law that further curtailed slave movements, their ability to earn wages. At that time, some slaves were able to actually earn money. Maryland banned that. And also you started to usurp the rights of free blacks. In 1860, over $3 billion was the value assigned to the physical bodies of enslaved Black Americans to be used as free labor and production. In today's dollars, that's $110 billion. At the time, more money was spent on the purchasing of Black bodies than on investing in factories or railroads combined. Despite the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863, slavery did not end in Maryland until the adoption of the new state constitution. So on November 1st, 1864, the citizens of Maryland voted to abolish slavery by a vote of 1,000 statewide, as the southern part of the state was heavily dependent on slave economy. Now in December, about less than a month later, a new state law was passed that allowed former slaveholders to force African Americans under the age of 21 into apprenticeships if they had no other means of support. So 1 month after you're under 21, back into slavery. Apprenticeship. In 1873, William H. Butler became the first Black elected official in the state when he won a seat in the Annapolis City Council. In 1905, and then again in 1907, and then again in 1910, through the Poe Amendment, and then there's a Strauss Amendment, the Maryland General Assembly tried to pass disenfranchising bills, but they were rebuffed at each occasion. in large part because of the rising black opposition and electoral strength, but also a growing alliance with white immigrant populations. In 1910, the legislature proposed the Diggs Amendment to the state constitution. It would have used property requirements to effectively disenfranchise many African Americans, as well as many poor whites. Due to the widespread public opposition, this measure failed. 1935, a lawsuit required the University of Maryland School of Law to admit its first black students. In 1954, Baltimore became the first city in Maryland and the first in the nation to implement desegregation, following Brown versus Board of Education. In 1955, the first African Americans were elected to the Maryland General Assembly: Senator Harry A. Cole and delegates Emory Cole and Truly Hatchett. They were from District 4, the former District 44, or what's now 44. In 1958, Verda Welcome was elected the first female African American delegate, and then the first female African American senator 4 years later. Senator Welcome's portrait hangs in the center in the Senate chamber now. In 1960, 12 African American students were part of a group which conducted a sit-in at Hooper's Restaurant in downtown Baltimore. They were, of course, refused service, and when they refused to leave, they were arrested and convicted of criminal trespass and fined $10 by the Circuit Court of Baltimore City. 2 years later, in 1962, the Maryland Court of Appeals upheld that decision, and it was appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, on March 29, 1963, the Maryland General Assembly enacted a public accommodations law, and it was applicable to Baltimore City and the 23 counties. It is unlawful for an owner or operator of a place of public accommodation or an agent or an employee of said owner or operator because of race, creed, color, national origin, or you get the idea. That applied to hotels, restaurants, and inns. So just at this point, there are about, our senator at this time, or prior to this time, a senator of Maryland, Verda Wilkins, could not eat in a restaurant, could not stay in a hotel. She was not able to do that. We're not allowed to meet in public places. August 28, 1963, the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. 1965, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of Robert M. Bell versus the state of Maryland. I'm sure you recognize the name. He became a Chief Justice. And the state of Maryland outlawed discrimination in restaurants and public accommodations. And also, we served across the country. Yet steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. The Maryland Legislative Black Caucus was organized and recognized by the General Assembly in 1970. The caucus was incorporated by Lena King Lee, then a member of the House of Delegates. In 1952, she'd become the third black woman to receive a law degree from the University of Maryland School of Law. She was an attorney, and, for all you young folks, she entered public life at the age of 60 and became one of the first African American women elected to the Maryland General Assembly. Our own colleague, Joanne C. Benson, was the president of the Legislative Black Caucus from 1995. Oh, sorry, permission to use this delegate's name. Sorry about that. We have come over a way with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out of the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. Today, the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland is comprised of 65 legislators within the Maryland General Assembly, making it the largest legislative black caucus in the nation. The initiative of The initiatives of the Black Caucus are to work to improve the quality of life for Marylanders, for those who are the descendants of African peoples who were kidnapped, sold, enslaved, stripped of language, socially and politically excluded by law, and
Senator, thank you so much for that presentation. That was really phenomenal. Well researched. I learned. I think I have about 10 questions about things that I had not heard of. I appreciate that enormously. I know all members do. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Chair recognizes the senator from the 41st District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move that these senators' comments be journalized, and if I could take a point of personal privilege, sitting here listening to the recitation really had it resonate with me what a privilege it truly is to be here based on the legacy of our people and the idea that it hasn't been that long since those laws were in place and senators weren't even able to eat or sleep in the very place that they served. So thank you for that.
Well said. Thank you. And without objection, we will certainly journalize the remarks. And Senator, if we could get a copy of it so that we can get it to the record for the Secretary's office. Thank you. Thank you. Well said. All right. On that note, let's do a quorum call.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand until Friday, February 2nd for a pro forma session at 11 a.m. And closing today in memory of former Delegate Howard Needle.
Without objection, so ordered. Thank you all again. Have a wonderful day.